Hi, my name is Brandon and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. I've had to really make sure that I'm keeping the tools in my toolkit, my recovery toolkit, sharp recently. And the reason is that when I started recovery, when I went into treatment, it was December 2019. When I came out of my outpatient treatment, it was the middle of March 2020. And then the world kind of shut down. I got comfortable with my recovery routine and practices during this pandemic. And I got very comfortable with the way things worked. And I kind of settled into a nice routine. Well, all of a sudden, that routine's changing. Now that things are opening up again, now that people are more comfortable socializing, I'm finding myself in all sorts of situations, particularly social situations, that I haven't been in recovery yet. So I'm a year and a half into recovery, and I have not been, for instance, last night was one of the first times that I went out to a bar with friends that I had prior to being in recovery. And these were people, they were very old friends, very close friends. And we met them my wife and I went and met them at a bar prior to going to dinner. And it was a very odd experience for me. I saw the drinks that people were having, and it kind of, it there was some temptation there. And I am fortunate that I have received so much good advice from my mentors in recovery that they have told me this is part of the reason why you have to work at this every day. And that's why I don't take breaks from recovery. This is why I work it every day. Because what I have found is the truth that people have told me all along is when you encounter new situations, it's even more difficult to use your tools. And that's why you have to keep the tools in your tool chest sharpened, oiled. That's why you have to keep them ready to go. Even if you get to a point where everything's working so well in recovery that you're not using those tools every day, you have to keep them in good shape. You can't just let them sit there and rust, because if you let those tools rust and then all of a sudden you need them, you're not going to be able to use them. And so that's why it's become so important for me to remember things like following the drink. So when I sit there and I see somebody drinking something at the bar that we're at, I have to just remember, if that was me, I would, number one, I would already be having to manage my drinking at this point. So I wouldn't even be, these people that I was with were relaxed. They were relaxed, talking, having a good time. That wouldn't be me. I would already be stressed out and worried about how am I going to keep my drinking under control enough that I don't make a fool out of myself tonight. That's not the way I want to be. In recovery, in social situations, I can be relaxed. I can be the person I always wanted to be. I just have to remember that that's what I have to do for it, is that I have to avoid drinking. And, the great thing is some of the friends that we were with last night, I know they were a little tipsy at the end of the night, probably aren't feeling their best this morning. I feel great this morning. Uh, I had a great time seeing these friends. I had a great time being there and being sober. I can remember the conversation. I didn't have to wake up and ask my wife, hey, did I do anything foolish last night? Did I say anything offensive? I didn't have to worry about whether I did anything that was inappropriate. And I didn't have to carry any kind of guilt associated with, for instance, driving while intoxicated. It was a fantastic feeling to wake up this morning and to know that I can go and do these things. But it was a great example of how, if I had not been keeping my tools in my toolkit sharpened and oiled along the way, and if I had not been taking care of building my recovery up, even during those times I was comfortable in it, might have been a very different outcome last night. So that's really important. And I'm not bringing this up to say that you should place yourself in tempting situations. Well, the reason I'm bringing this up is to highlight the importance of keeping your tools sharpened and oiled even while you're feeling comfortable in recovery, even while you think things are going well. It's so important to do that so that when you're in situations that challenge you, when you're in situations where you don't feel as strong as you have in other situations, or when you're in new situations, the situations where, normally you would rely on alcohol or drugs for comfort, you can instead rely on the tools that have brought you success in recovery thus far. That's it for today. I'll be back here tomorrow with more, and in the meantime, I hope you have a good one.